But Herc, let's begin this show with a word that you've fallen in love with working with me. Kerfuffle. That's right, the brawl that broke out following New York City FC against Toronto on Saturday. New York City 3-2 winners in the game. You see Sean Johnson, who's now at Toronto, but has played for both teams in the middle there, along with Tanasiewicz, the New York City player. Apparently there's some bad blood from back in March when they played, an altercation in the tunnel. What happened back in March, we don't really know. There's a lot of different stories. Jonathan Osorio said one of his teammates was cornered by New York City coaches and players. John Herdman said that player, who hasn't been identified, but they kind of told us who it was, Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy, was punched in the face. Nick Cushing, the New York City FC coach, no surprise, is categorically denied or punching or assaulting any TFC player. MLS is going to have an investigation on what happened in March. Here's the fallout from what happened over the weekend. A bunch of suspensions there. John Herdman, Sean Johnson, Richie Larea, Prince Owusu all missing tonight's Toronto game against Nashville. Tanasiewicz missing the New York City game. They're playing tonight against the Philadelphia Union. Herc, it's a he said. What do you make of it?
Oh, really quick, Toronto FC actually playing, right? They're without 9 players, include another 5 players through injury. So they've got, let's see.
Hope my primo got his bet in on Nashville.
There you go. Hope your primo did well there. I don't know what to make of it because it's he said, pretty much. And this is where it gets very serious. Forget the kerfuffle. Kerfuffle? Is that what it's called?
Yes, you nailed it.
Yeah, forget that for a second, okay? The accusations from one coach, it's not a fan, it's not a member of the press randomly throwing something. No, it's a coach who's alleging that the rival coach punched one of his players, a young player. Either you did or you didn't. Either way, something's going down. Because if Nick Cushing did not punch a player, it's defamation. That's literally defamation. You cannot go around damaging this man like you are. But if he did, we got bigger problems here. Heads are going to fly. Heads are going to roll. Now, I don't know what to make of this and who to believe, per se. What I do know is who I know. I know Sean Johnson. Sean Johnson is an upstanding citizen in Major League Soccer and doubt.
Beyond that, Herc, he's a cool, calm, collected guy, and you saw him go from 0 to 100 here.
Sean Johnson is a guy that doesn't get ruffled. Sean Johnson is a class individual who played in New York City FC, has admiration for the club, the fan base, and them to Sean Johnson. I know the guy personally from the national team. We were roommates once in a Gold Cup, and I'm not taking sides. I'm saying what I know. Very out of character for him to react this way, which makes the spidey senses go off, which makes me think something is adrift, which makes me think there's more to this story. You saw his reaction, 0 to 100 like that. That just doesn't happen. And you saw Nick Cushing's reaction. There's something going on here, but until we know, until there's a legit full investigation, not these cards because of this, until we know after the investigation and justice, the due process has gone through, then I can make a judgment call. All I see right now are tempers flaring. And I see Major League Soccer, based off the video footage that they have, determining what goes on. But per New York City and what we've seen from reports, New York City sent in multiple videos of the tunnel incident in question by Toronto, by John Herdman. If it did happen, suspend him, hit him hard. If it didn't happen, suspend John Herdman, hit him hard.
Yeah. Sean Johnson at the beginning kind of looked like he was going over there almost as a peacemaker, and then suddenly it didn't look so peaceful. It looked like they were really kind of going at it. I think Tanasiewicz is new to New York City FC, so I don't think him and Sean Johnson would have crossed paths at all, but still some wild scenes there. I think the big word here is if, Herc, right? But if this happened, if Nick Cushing really did punch a player, he's gone, right? I don't think there's any coming back from that with New York City FC, with MLS, and I'm all for second chances, but I wouldn't want to be the owner that gave somebody that was accused of this a second chance. But Herc, it's a pretty big if here, because even if you kind of read into the quotes, it leaves some room for doubt here. Osorio says the coach, right? He doesn't name Cushing, and Herdman says the player says that he was punched, which one is not even a first-person account, right? And he also doesn't name Cushing. So I have some doubts if it was actually Cushing that punched the young player here, Marshall-Ruddy. I have fewer doubts that he was punched, Herc, because if if he wasn't punched, we basically have what you said, which is somebody making up a lie. And what do we know? I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Something happened in that tunnel, and I'm very curious to see where this investigation goes. Because either way, Cushing's gone or Herdman's going to get the hammer because he's really put himself out here, and it sounds like New York City has the better evidence from what you're saying.
It's 2024. You can't tell me there aren't cameras in a tunnel. Come on, man. Nowadays, you got cameras everywhere in your house. You got cameras everywhere you go, down the street. There's no chance. Well, the producer said you didn't see him in Inter Miami or Monterrey. Trust me, there was camera footage. It just mysteriously disappeared. That's a different thing. That's a different thing. But here, you cannot tell me that in these stadiums, they don't have the footage available. And if it's not made available, that should tell you something. Now, like VAR, find the footage that you cannot go back from. Find the footage that is irrefutable. If not, then I think there should be some severe punishment for the people making these accusations. But if so, you're right. Cushing's gone.
Toronto FC, New York City FC involved in a scrap over the weekend, and both teams playing shorthanded tonight around Major League Soccer.